Hello, juniors and seniors. It is Tuesday, April 7th. It is a bright, sunny day outside. It's a good day to talk about some English out here on my balcony. So, with the first 3 weeks having gone pretty well, and with us transitioning into another basically month of distance learning, thanks to Governor DeWine's abundance of caution and new order. We're going to continue with our distance learning. Now, the stuff that I had assigned previously was all skill building, so things to practice that we wanted to refine those skills a little bit as we approach the end of the year. So, with that being said, we're actually going to transition into a slightly new unit. And we're going to do a very short journaling mini unit. I'm pretty excited about this. I think it'll be kind of fun. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say that in the physical packets I sent home with you, or if you're somebody receiving them through email, there is this here, which is the cover letter that I sent out this week. And within that cover letter, I want to make sure that I reminded you all this work is being graded. Just because we are not in my classroom does not mean that this work is, excused or not to be done. It still needs to get done. It is still graded. I also made sure to send out my contact information again. I have my email address, my phone number in there that you can call or text. And then, of course, I have the link to the YouTube channel, but obviously if you're watching this video, you probably already have that. That being said, I also have office hours Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 o'clock. Currently, you can reach me through call, text, email, any of those during those 3 hours, and that time is devoted only to answering student questions. It may take me a minute or two to get to you if I have a whole bunch of students calling at once. But know that is time I have set aside, those 3 hours every day, to address student questions and concerns. So that is time for you all 5 days. With next week being our spring break, it is actually spring break, so I will not be assigning new work next week. Do know that if you are still working on this week's assignments next week, I am still available. You can feel free to reach out to me, text, call, email, whatever, and I will be more than happy to answer any of those questions. So I want us to talk a little bit about journaling and reflective writing. And with us being inside, I decided it would be kind of fun for us to do a little bit of work with the Diary of Anne Frank. Because she was confined inside during World War II. And in Hitler's Germany. Now, obviously, we still have freedoms, but I thought there were certain parallels that would be interesting for us to explore. There is a brief one-page set of instructions with a prompt at the bottom of that first page. I also, in our instructions, have included a brief little checklist here, so that way, if you've got all of that checked off, then you've got everything done for the week. You can turn that in, and if you are ahead, awesome. So our first prompt, I want you to, in 2 paragraphs, think about why people keep journals and diaries. I think it's a really interesting question for us to explore and for us to answer, and to think about, especially in this time, as there is so much information out there through the news, the internet, things like that, and I think that a lot of us are affected in different ways, and I think it's interesting for us to kind of keep a record of that, and kind of just have our thoughts down somewhere. A lot of people are doing this through social media, through Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, And a lot of people really don't think about it, but our social media really does kind of serve as basically an online public diary. So I did include some an excerpt from the beginning of the Diary of Anne Frank, so it's a couple of pages with a few entries, I think about 3, and then a short post reading for your, and that'll kind of take you through about the first day of the week. And then we actually have journal entries. For your journal entries, for written journals, I want them to be about 3 paragraphs. For your video journals, each video should be about 4 to 6 minutes long. If you record longer, that's okay. But I want them to try to average out to be about 4 to 6 minutes. And so if you don't necessarily want to write everything down, you want to try doing a video journal, I encourage you to try to do so. Play around with multimedia. Have fun with it. So there are 3 different journals that I want you to do for this week. In your first one, introduce yourself to your journal. That's what Anne Frank does in her diary. She refers to her diary in the second person as you. So you don't have to do that. You can refer to your journal. You can, if you want to, if you want to then go ahead and post these like on social media or whatever. Yeah, let them be your purpose, serve your purpose. So if you want to imagine that you are addressing an audience, you can address the people in your video. So journal 1 is journal number 1 is an introduction, and so that'll be where you'll kind of introduce yourself in your journal, so that way we know who you are, what you're going to be talking about. In your second journal, I want you to write about how things have changed for you since the COVID-19 outbreak. Is it frustrating? Are things going better than you thought they would? Are they going a little bit worse? Talk about the things that are still going well. I think it's always good for us to hold on to the bright spots in life, even as a lot of other things kind of feel a little crazy. So that's journal 2, and so that is, I'm just going to abbreviate that on here as changes. And then, of course, if our first journal is an introduction, our second journal is changes, our third journal, take a wild guess what it's going to be. You are right, it is us looking forward. So that is the future. I want us to think about what we want to do once all of this is over. For me, I fully intend to get back outside, get into the gym some more, do some of those types of things. I intend to spend plenty of time with my friends and family. So I encourage you to think about what you're looking forward to. Earlier, my girlfriend and I were talking about having sushi once we can get back to our favorite sushi restaurant. So think about some of those things. Think about the things you want to do, that you want to do again. And then finally, just know that in the coming days, I will have 3 videos to serve as examples. You can already refer to the excerpts from the Diary of Anne Frank to kind of help you with your written journals, but I also want to create a couple of video journals as well to give you an example for what those should look like. As always, should you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any and all of your questions, and make sure that you are staying safe.